Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Guided Podcast. And we are here this week with Catherine Ann, our resident intuitive astrologer, who incorporates her background in tarot, channeling, and the healing arts in her uniquely guided approach to reading the messages in the stars. So she is here this week to talk about the upcoming full moon in Capricorn that occurs at 29 degrees on July 21st. So, Catherine, take us through the energies.
All right, awesome. So this is a really unique situation because we're having two full moons in Capricorn within a month. So if you recall, June 21st, we had the full moon in Capricorn at 1 degree. So that's why we're now being able to have another one just a month later at the very end. There's no 30 degree, it becomes 0. So 29 is the latest degree possible. So very interesting because these are not the same energies at all, but they're talking to the same topics for everybody. So it's almost like we talked about how full moons shine a light. You're in this growth process and it's bringing something to culmination. It's, the plant, the seed has sprouted and now there's a plant, but it's not harvest time. Something needs to be released and continued on. So a change, a pivot, something, and then we keep growing to the harvest time. So it's really interesting because with this second full moon in Capricorn, I almost think of it as like a do-over because we just did this last month. But the energies were very different. And there was that, like, maybe I don't want to deal with this. I've seen it, but maybe I don't want to deal with this energy in that June full moon in Capricorn. Now it's back again and it's saying, nope, you got to deal with this. So now we have the supportive energy to help us, which is great because maybe you saw something and you wanted to take action and it just kind of fizzled out and didn't take traction. And you're like, ooh, I saw it, but nah, never mind. Now you're going to be able to go, okay, I'm going to do this. I feel the determination and the drive to make this happen because of this supportive energy that Mars is bringing in.
Yeah,
So,
the thing I keep flashing to as you say that is oftentimes when we're moving through these different lessons or changing patterns. I know for me last month, I got stuck in this, it really felt like something I'd been working on for so long. And the realization that I still wasn't where I wanted to be drove me to feel a little defeated, drove me to feel despair, honestly. And I had to really get myself to this point where it was like, you need to make a choice. Like, you need to decide that you're going to do this differently. And I think that's what I keep flashing to, because I think that's what you're saying. Like, this is that point where we really need to make a choice that we are letting that go and embracing what we need to embrace in order to create what we want to create. Do I have that right?
absolutely. Although I'm just going to add ready or not, because there's some heavy hitters that are bringing the energy in. This Pluto is really active in this full moon this time. And Pluto is death and rebirth, intensity. We're doing it. It's going to impact change.
I feel like I need a helmet.
So, what's so lovely about that is the universe gave us a trial run in June to say, this is something we need you to look at. And you had a whole month to maybe not take action on it, but you knew it was there. It's been ruminating. And now Pluto's coming in and saying, no, really, this is important. And it's the word that came up over and over again as I looked at all the different things, because it's actually a very busy chart. So I'm really focusing on only a few areas, but many of the things that are going on have the same message of catharsis. It's this message of breaking through something, turning over a new leaf, discovery, or really extreme emotional reaction. Because you can have like catharsis that happens and you're like, this is really not a very attractive image, but this is what they just gave me, was like popping a zit. Like, you know, it's not beautiful, but you're like, those, they have whole shows on the pimple popper doctor, right?
Totally.
Like people get obsessed with that. That's catharsis. It's gross, but it is, right? So where we're going to find this showing up for us, we may be in a place where like, I'm so ready. I know I dragged my feet since last month. I saw this. I'm ready. I'm so grateful that the planetary energies are giving me the determination and drive to actually address it now. Or it might get burst on its own and you're going to get pushed along on it on your own. And that's kind of like the where you have to use the phrases like everything is happening for us and not to us. And when one door closes, another opens or something like that. If you've been in the resistance and you haven't been dealing and you haven't done anything to like allow this shift to happen, you might get pushed
That's what
because you
it sounds like.
lose your second chance.
Okay.
So one of the reasons why I really feel this shift catharsis energy is because in a full moon, it's always a conversation about where the sun and the moon are when we're talking about lunations, right? The new moon, the full moon, all the places. So the sun is at 29 degrees and the moon is at 29 degrees. So this is called an anaretic degree. It's the last degree of the sign. And there's lots of different philosophies about this degree. But basically, catharsis, mastery, a spark of magic where it's like, finally you get there, crisis. So that would be the opposite of the spark of magic or the lovely change that you finally get to do, right? It's the crisis. It's just heightened expression in general. You're at the end of the road before you're going to turn into a new phase. And it's that burst. So with the sun there and the moon there and Neptune is there. So we talked about Neptune with the last full moon. This time, though, it's in a different situation. It's actually really supportive. And it's in this relationship of enhancing your inspiration. It's saying, I want to really like, it's enhancing the desire for spiritual discovery or going towards a higher purpose or being that seeking or that visionary feeling. So now you're not in the, oh, I know I need to change this. They're showing it to me, but I don't really want to. I'd rather go into my escaping from last month. Now we're in the place of, no, I'm ready. I really like, I have a vision about this. I have a purpose about this. And luckily, Pluto and Mars are saying, we're giving you the push and the drive to do it. So it's actually really it's a supportive catharsis as long as you don't dig in your heels and, don't let it happen.
Yeah. So don't go into resistance if you can help it.
If you can help it. And there's not a ton of resistance in this weather, right? It's change or catharsis, but it's not digging your heels in energy. The only place where there's maybe a little bit of a challenge is in like mental faculties, getting erratic thinking or overstimulated or, kind of getting restless or nervous. That's a Mercury square Uranus thing going on. There's a little bit of anxiety in the air, but that often happens with change, right? That often happens before we jump off the cliff.
Yeah. And I am reflecting back to your new moon talk, and you articulated in that conversation this energy of like we were getting smacked over the head with some new inspiration. And it's not lost on me that now, as we move into this full moon, it's almost like, ooh, what are we still holding on to tight that might be in opposition to where we are headed?
Right, right, exactly. So we were given the opportunity back in June at the full moon. in the new moon at the beginning of July, we were given some awareness with that whole Chiron triggering bit about who we are and where we want to go. And so there's just, it's almost like following the breadcrumbs that the universe sets out for us. Like, okay, so now we're going to do this step. Now we're going to do this step. And in this particular energy, it felt we needed it twice. That we were going to need twice as long to figure out how to release what needed to be released in this situation.
So it's big. No wonder it's like popping a zit, because it feels big.
Yeah, it does. Sometimes spirit gives funny images. So
Yeah.
anyways, so yeah, it's big. I mean, and it's not just that the sun and moon and Neptune are at 29 degrees, this anaretic degree of, catharsis and crisis and heightened emotions and catalyst. And it's not just that, it's also that Pluto and Mars are at 0 degrees. So they're just right at the beginning of the sign that they're in. So Mars just is moving in to a new sign. And it's like a fresh burst of energy coming into that topic of your life. And so Mars is like, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do this. And because Pluto's trining it in this beautiful relationship, Pluto's like, oh yeah, let's get it. Like we're going to get from deep out under and we're going to push, and Mars's action is going to not just skim the surface. It's the image I just got is like Pluto digging way deep at the bottom of a well, and then Mars pulling it up and out. So that's a really supportive energy if we're going to go through this catharsis.
We're really being ushered. It's digging deep and allowing the energies to help us usher that forward.
Yeah. So if you remember, we talked about how the Capricorn moon really speaks to Capricorn topics of safety and security, the practicalness, the sea goat. They are steadfast on the top of a rocky mountain, right? This is the Capricorn energy. So we're really still addressing that topic of where is Capricorn being impacted, first by that 1 degree moon in June, and now by the 29th degree in July. What area of your life has that real strong, practical, steadfast energy, but needs a shift, needs that, like, because you are, something's coming to light in those areas, you're now going to see how another area helps you shift, because Mars is in a different part, right? Mars is in Capricorn. It's Mars and Pluto are coming from other areas, and they're going to help you with this shift.
Okay.
So catharsis, this is where we're going. So let's run through specifically how it's going to work for each sign. And again, you can listen to this for your rising or your sun sign, both even. Your rising sign is going to be much more specific to the house topics, but the sun sign does also work. It does have the same resonance with it. So you'll have to, listen to both and which one speaks to you. So we're going to start with Aries. And what we're really going to look at is, where is this moon hitting your chart? And then where is Mars creating the action or doing the determined movement from this drive from Pluto? So for Aries, the moon is in your 10th house. Lovely place for a moon in Capricorn, because it's all about career and fame and reputation. So Capricorn loves all of those topics, right? So you're going to be looking at what's coming to light in this area of your life. Is there something about your career space or a manifestation you're trying to do in your reputation or career space that's ready for you to release something, make a change so that you can actually get to where you're going, right? And so where Mars is going to be really supportive, getting that drive for catharsis, is going to be in the 3rd house of neighborhood, communication, your siblings. So we're going to think about, okay, so if we need to make a change or a releasing of something around the topics of career and reputation and legacy, how does Mars help in those areas? Well, Mars, maybe you're going to think, I need to change neighborhoods. Maybe this is not the neighborhood, or maybe this is the perfect neighborhood, but I need to get my local environment. I need to take action in my local environment to help me drive what I'm trying to manifest in my career. So that's how are we going to use this local environment to show you what needs to be released. Let's move on to Taurus. We're going to look at the Capricorn new moon, or full moon, sorry, is in the 9th house, which talks about higher learning, travel, legal affairs, foreign, faith, spirituality. And so you're looking at really, I want to say, like, broadening your horizons, whether it's globally, you actually really want to travel the world and you're working on something to help you make that come true, or are you broadening your horizons in education or your spirituality? And what Mars is doing in your 2nd house of money and value and income is saying, I'm going to help you pay for this. I'm going to help you find the resources to make this happen. And so that's lovely, right? We want Mars to help us. And, you think about this Pluto to Mars trine. So remember that image of like the deep bucket pulling something out and Mars then taking that rope and pulling that bucket way out. So there might be some things that you need to release around these topics that Mars is going to help with. Pluto, for everybody, Pluto right now is in Aquarius. So you could also pull that in, but I think that's going to get it a little too complicated if we also look at that house. So just thinking about Mars is pulling out from this area and running with it. So let's look at the Capricorn full moon for Gemini. So for Gemini, this is falling in your 8th house of other people's resources, contracts, debts, death, inheritance. And so what is coming to light for that, right? Is there something that you're holding on to still, but you're ready to release it? Because we saw a little bit of it in June. Now it's like, all right, that last bit, let's go. And where this is really showing up, the support from Mars is in your 1st house. So it's saying, if you can let this go, I'm going to help you be you. I'm going to help you really show up as you. Just really like that full energy out into your space, that action and determination. But you're going to have to let go of something in that 8th house.
And when you speak to, right, the death energy in Gemini, is that like death of a person, or it's death as in change? Like something has to come to an end for something new to begin, or is it all of the above?
It's actually all of the above.
Okay.
And so let's take it from 2 different perspectives, right? So actual death of the person, never, ever, ever, when you listen to astrology, do you ever want to fear that someone's going to pass that you don't want to pass? Because that's not
Right.
what this is about.
Doesn't serve.
Right?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't serve. So this is not, I'm not talking about some sudden unexpected thing. Remember, this moon, you already got lit up in June. So if that were really the case, I would wonder if it was like maybe you knew this was coming, right? You knew, it was time. And maybe you're literally releasing a person who it's their time to transition, but you had that kind of pre-warning, right? And then also completely psychologically death and rebirth as well, right? So maybe you need to let go of a psychological pattern that it's time for that piece of you to die.
Yeah.
So you can more fully become who you are.
Yeah, the image I keep getting flashed to as a Gemini rising, I very much resonate with what you're saying. And the image I keep flashing to is one of the horses that I help take care of has been shedding his winter coat for months now. And almost his entire coat has now shed, but there is one tiny patch left of fur from the winter. And I was like, oh, isn't that interesting? Like it's just this tiny patch that's holding on. And I very much feel that energy within me. It's like, what is that tiny patch that I still need to let go of?
Mhm. And I just had this come in that this is the house of resources from others. So also for Geminis, thinking of where are you holding on to something that's provided by someone else for you, right? Where are you holding on to a resource that you get from someone else that you're not ready to let go of, but that's holding you back from this catharsis of really stepping into who you are. So it's this, yes, it's related to actual death. Yes, it's related to financial resources or psychological death situations, patterns and stuff. But it's also about resources, like straight up financial resources. So maybe there's something you're holding on to that you're like, but I don't want to let go of it. And you're going to be like, what, ready or not, here, we're letting go of this. All right. So moving on to Cancer. So this is showing up. The moon is showing up in your 7th house of relationship, marriage, and partner. So what is showing up that you are needing to release so that you can take your relationships to the next level? And that could be a relationship you're in. It could be relationships with your clients if you have that type of business. It could be that you're hoping to manifest a relationship, and what is it that's now been brought to light that you're like, oh, I probably need to let this go if I want to bring this manifestation into fruition. And where we're actually really getting the support is in our 12th house, which is our subconscious and our intuition and like retreat. So it's interesting because Mars is helping us in a place that's not going to be seen. So this is going to be, you're really going to have some willingness to look at yourself, some willingness to take it deep and go, okay, so there's something this is about me. This is about a pattern of my own self undoing, right? That I maybe am ready to release. And also, whenever you have something going on in your 7th house of partners, it could be happening to your partner and not you. So that's also just something to be aware of because this is activating your house of partnership. And so you may be witness to this as opposed to that it's your relationship, right? You may witness your partner going through some like, I'm ready to tackle some of my subconscious patterns. I'm ready to deal with something that I didn't want to deal with before.
Well, and I also wonder, right, when we think about that, even if we're witnessing what's going on with a partner, we also have to witness how we're showing up, either in reaction to or in witness of all of that and what's triggering us, right? So it's always probably still going to come full circle back to us too. But that's interesting that the other person may be the catalyst for that awareness.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So moving into Leo, this is going to show up in Leo's 6th house, daily routines, health, wellness, even pets, like your little pets, not like not like livestock, work. And so this full moon is really shining some light on your daily routines. And if you're trying to bring something into manifestation along those topics, what do you need to release? What do you need to know? Where do you need to pivot to bring about what you've been asking for, what you intended when you set these intentions earlier? So, but on the other side, where Mars is giving you action is in the 11th house of wishes and hopes and dreams, of community, of friendships, of network. So Mars is like, I got the people. I got the people to help you. So are you going to join a running club? Are you going to now find a community that's going to support you in your health routines? I just keep getting this thought about like, are you going to join a rescue organization and now you have new pets? Like this is the weird connections, right? Of the 6th and 11th house, but it's Mars is like, let's do it. Let's get people involved. Let's make it happen. And we're going to help you pivot and move forward on this journey with your health and well-being. So that sounds fun, actually. So Virgo is going to be seeing this full moon in their 5th house: children, creativity, pleasure, romance, good fortune. It's just all the good fun stuff. And so, but Virgo, so Virgo is very earthy, very maybe regimented, very organized, could be very detail oriented in particular. And then in this moon is showing up of this place where none of those things to me sound very detailed and organized, right? It's fun. But this is Virgo's Capricorn house. So Virgos may actually find that it's challenging for them to let go and have fun in these areas, or release themselves into doing something for pleasure's sake, or just like dating for dating's sake. That's something that may be a little more challenging for a Virgo, because this is going to be your Capricorn house that says there needs to be a purpose and a point, and it needs to make sense. And where's it going to get me? Right?
That's the image I got, was like doing something without an agenda attached to it.
Absolutely. And so if something's coming to light, you may see, oh, I'm being a little too controlling in this area. I need to let go of that. Maybe the things that are beautiful about Capricorn are not actually serving this part of my life. And I need to let go of the reins a little bit. And where you're actually going to get the support from Mars is moving through the 10th house of your career and your public reputation. And it's interesting to me because this is a wild thing that just came into my mind. But so are you going to like have some work conference you have to go to in Orlando, and you take the kids and we all get to have a great time? Maybe you're going to learn that that's an opportunity, right? And what you're going to have to release from your Capricorn moon is, but I have work to do, right? So something attached to your career really could provide an opportunity to let go of some of your Capricornness and go have a little fun. Okay, so let's look at Libra. So Libra rising, Libra sun, this is showing up in the 4th house. So the full moon in Capricorn is showing up at the bottom of the chart in the house of family, ancestry, your childhood home, your past, your parents. So maybe there's something there that you're realizing. You've made some realizations about how you were raised, some set ways that maybe you have, or this is your Capricorn house for a Libra rising. Maybe you had like, the only way to be successful is the way my family has always done it, right? Like I'm following the family business, or, dad said this is the way we have to do it. And you're being asked to pivot or release something's showing up in that area. And Mars is saying, let's go travel. Let's go. Maybe, hey, I really have always been interested in this other topic of study. I'm going to go do that. I know dad said I should really study business, but I've always loved cooking. So I'm going to go do that. And Mars is giving you the drive to follow that and release maybe this, old pattern that isn't really serving you. Or, this is also following, it's travel, education, spirituality. Maybe you go into a spiritual pursuit or a faith-based pursuit as well. So, all right, so we're going to move into Scorpio. So Scorpio sees this full moon showing up in their 3rd house, the cosmic junk drawer of everything and above: neighborhood, communication, school, siblings, short trips, everything. And, so Capricorn likes, again, practical, steadfast, organized, makes sense. Like you said, there's an agenda. This is like that steadfast Capricorn energy. It's really a key to success, right? So you're being shown something in your local environment, in your life's junk drawer, that needs to be trimmed, is the word I'm hearing. Like, it needs to be, like, we need to clean this up a little bit, clear some stuff out, so that, we can move on with this manifestation. Mars is in your 8th house of resources of others. So maybe, I just got this thought of, like, you're having to navigate the school carpool, and it's just like, it's totally impacting your ability to bring to light whatever it is you're trying to manifest. And Mars comes in and brings in someone else who's like, I gotcha. You can be out of the rotation. Something as simple as that. It's a resource of time that Mars is going to help you with and put something into action. Or you're going to take the action. You're going to say, I need help from somebody, and you're going to seek it out, right? Because I'm not being able to move forward in this, because I can't just, be that stalwart Capricorn energy and do it all myself in this area. And, Scorpio in general isn't necessarily going to be the one that's asking for help either. They really want to kind of handle it on their own, for different reasons than Capricorn. And so, speaking to this, like, okay, maybe that's what you're releasing. Maybe you're releasing that you don't want to ask for help from people, but you really need resources from others here. All right. So Sagittarius, this is falling, the full moon is falling in the 2nd house of money, income, value, possessions. So I would imagine that Sagittarius have really been thinking for the last month or so about getting their finances in order, not their 401k. We're talking about that daily cash flow, getting that in order. And also, just, what do you value? And it's interesting because the 2nd house also has to do with, like, what nourishes you. So your finance, the resources that nourish you, the people that nourish you, and the food that nourishes you. So maybe you're looking at, maybe I'm valuing something that I'm eating more than I need to be, and I need to let that go. These are areas that we've been thinking about since June. Something for Sagittarius has said, this is impacting my abundance. This is impacting my abundance. And where we're going to get support is from our partners and from our relationships. So we're going to really feel that drive to take action. Maybe that means that you're going to ask your partner to buddy up with you to do this thing that you're trying to create, right? Maybe you're like, oh, maybe that's the pivot. Maybe I wasn't supposed to do it on my own. Maybe I was supposed to partner with somebody. Or maybe you don't want to partner with someone, and you are going to take actions around, conversation. I want to say, like, conversations with partners, as opposed to doing it with partners. Or, like, it's time. I got to have this conversation. So it may even be, I had to finally talk to my partner because this isn't working. Maybe that's what you're letting go of, right? So really looking at what you value, and now you have this ability to take action from Mars in that house. So now we're going to move on to Capricorn. So Capricorn, rising sun, this follows in your 1st house. So that's all about you, right? We've talked about this. This is your appearance, how you show up in the world, your body. So it's really interesting because I recall from our June conversations, we were talking about, for me, I'm a Capricorn rising, about starting a new eating routine. And then I think that was all the way from the beginning of June. And then we got to the June full moon, and it was like, oh, this is hard. I have too much work to do. I can't be bothered with this. This is speaking from personal experience. So, now you have, it's been a month. It's still there. You're still needing to do this thing about you, about your appearance, your body, like how you show up for yourself. And now you're going to be able to release it. The good news, this is like, sometimes I just am like, I cannot believe how astrology comes together, because where you're going to get the support is in your sixth house of health routines. So daily life routines. So maybe you struggled to really implement it ever since June. You knew you should, you kind of did, you maybe a little bit there, a little bit off. And now we get to this July and Mars goes, I gotcha. We're going to do this, and helps you implement those routines and let go of the Trader Joe's elote corn chips that are definitely my vice.
I mean, so is the everything but the elote dip, if we're gonna go there. So
Oh,
I totally resonate with that. The thing, tell me if this is accurate as well, because I feel like integrity is also a Capricorn word. And the message that I got as you were talking about this was about congruence, where it's about allowing our thoughts to be congruent with our actions. So like in my case, it's right. Oh, if you want to eat well, but you keep eating boxes of cookies, like we are incongruent between thought and action, right? And so bringing congruence to like, well, if we're enhancing our appearance, like let's eat foods that actually fuel the body in a more supportive, productive way, not a bag of Oreos, for example, right? Yeah.
yeah, well, but you know who really supported the bag of Oreos? Last month's Neptune, that said, this is too hard. I'd rather just go have some Oreos, right? We saw it. We saw it at 1 degree Capricorn. We knew what we were trying to bring to light. We knew where we had set some intention and we were not really, you know, on point and needed to shift or pivot. And then Neptune said, yeah, that's okay. Luckily, the universe said they're going to need a second try. And they brought in this Capricorn moon again in the end of July with the support of Mars, so we can actually do it now.
Yeah, and I keep coming back to that thought about like we really have to make the decision. It's a decision that's a commitment, but it's like we have to make the choice. And the message that they're saying, because even the choice to do nothing is a choice for things to remain the same. Right. So making the choice to really get aligned and be congruent with like where we're headed, where our high self wants us to go. I feel that energy very strongly.
Yeah, and if you think about, I was talking about that 29th degree and how it's all over this chart, and that idea of you're ready. It's time. Like you can do this. And so like it's almost like make the choice to believe in yourself that you can, right? Like make the choice that the universe is teeing you up to have some support on this. And I know that I could beat myself up because whatever I thought I was going to pivot on at the Capricorn full moon, if I didn't do it in 100% successful Capricorn style, I can get a little like I didn't, I wasn't a perfectionist and that was a problem. But this moon is actually saying, no, 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 it was a big deal. It was that you were trying to really tackle something big. You needed more support. And we didn't give it to you a month ago. We just gave you the light bulb. Now, let's do it. And don't beat yourself up if it didn't happen over the last month. So we're going to wrap up with Aquarius and Pisces. So Aquarius is having this full moon in their 12th house. So this is their hidden subconscious, this is not a part that you show the world. And so really where I feel Aquarius is going to be experiencing the breakthrough or the pivot is inside, in their mental processes, in their subconscious. And so what's really powerful about this is that Aquarius has Pluto right at that 0 degrees. It's, it spent tons of times in Capricorn. Now in this past year, it came into Aquarius. It's actually retrograding. It's about to go back into Capricorn in September, just for a few months. And then it'll end up being in Aquarius for like the next 20 years. So Pluto in Aquarius is a big deal for an Aquarius. And what a lovely moon to kind of be allowing you some diving deep on what this Pluto in Aquarius is doing for you, because there's no way around it. As a Capricorn rising who just had Pluto in Capricorn for 15 years, let me tell you, change is coming. There's no way around it. The person I was in 2008 when Pluto entered Capricorn, and the path of those 15 years, Pluto made its mark.
Same.
Right?
Same.
So Aquarius is about to be doing this for about 20 years. So this is actually kind of a nice little, like, let's go in, let's kind of feel this out, let's see some things. And Pluto's going, all right, let's pull it out, right? Where Mars is in that fun 5th house of children and creativity and pleasure. So maybe you want to get into your artistic side and do some art processing. Maybe you want to throw paint at a wall. If you're not like, oh, I love to draw, but you just need to get some of this subconscious stuff pulled out, right? Because you're going deep with Pluto and Aquarius and with the Capricorn full moon at the anaretic degree. So maybe Mars needs to let you be a little explosive in a fun way. I just got that image too of those rooms where you can like break things, smash.
They call like Wreck-It rooms or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like fun and allowed. You're not breaking your own TV, because that's not really what this energy is suggesting. But like, let Mars help you get some of this stuff out as you're diving down into that subconscious.
Catharsis.
Yeah, catharsis, exactly. And maybe catharsis means breaking someone else's dishes that you pay to do, not your neighbors. So, and then the last but not least, Pisces. So Pisces is having this full moon in the 11th house, which is hopes and wishes and networking and community, and it's friendships. So there's something about how your networks are serving you. And is there something that you need to let go of? And so with this Capricorn, I feel it 2 ways. Are you being too controlling of your networks? Are you trying to navigate it in a very like, this is how things should be done, right? Because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and one of the Saturn words sometimes is should. So are you shoulding all over your networks and groups? And how is that working out for you? Maybe not so great, right? So where you're going to get that support, it's interesting because it's your 4th house, it's your family, it's your home base, it's your lineage and your ancestry, or it's your foundations. So maybe Mars is going to help you take some actions that help you feel more secure in yourself, more secure in your foundations, so you don't feel the need to control your groups. That's kind of what's coming for me with that, is like, for those of us who have strong family support, maybe doing things with your family and, taking actions with your family is going to help you release where you're holding on too tight with others. For those who don't have that, maybe it's with, doing some deep diving ancestral healing, or they're telling me, or you're with your spirit team. Maybe you need to go in deep. Maybe you want to do past life regressions to like see what lineage you have going on. Mars is going to say, let's go do this. Let's go do this. And that'll help you release what you need to release in this area of friends and community and your hopes and wishes, because you also may be holding on a little too tightly to your hopes and wishes. And if you hold on too tight, the universe can't do its magic. So So there we go. We got all the way through Aries to Pisces. So you can see that even though I say catharsis ready or not, doesn't mean your life's going to blow up. It just means you're ready for shift in these areas. And there's some helper energy from Mars that's going to help you take action on doing it.
Yeah, that feels encouraging. So I think it sounds like it will be helpful for people to kind of reflect on the last month and what were some of those aha moments and things that really made a big appearance in their life. And I can already see some of the big things that I actually thought I let go of. And yet I know there's going to be like another piece that is going to uncover to be like, oh, right. And that too, that needs to go too.
Right. I actually love the analogy about brush shedding for Bubba because it's such a great image in my head of like, there's just that one last bit,
Yeah.
right? You're almost all done. You're at 29 degrees. You're moving on.
Yeah.
One last thing. So it's that extra little pivot.
Yeah, that tiny patch of hair. And it's funny because it's like, I take the shedding blade and really like go at it to try to get it off and I'm like it's holding on tight. And I think that's the question for me like what is that last piece for me that I'm holding on so tight. And that's what needs to release.
That's what needs to burst, right? That's what Mars needs to rip out from the bottom of the well. But you're
And we're supported in doing it. That's the message.
yeah, and this is an action, right? This is Mars. This is not we're dreaming or hoping. We're doing something. It's going to be active. With Mars, you always have the potential of it being fiery. So you could do this in a blaze of glory, or or maybe you could do it in just some strong willpower and the energy you need. But there is going to be action related around this second full moon in Capricorn.
Yeah, I just got the image of, I forget what it's called. Is it not hydroplaning, but it's where they have the boots that are like with water that propel you above. Like that's the image I got. It's like this is gonna like really propel us, like a rocket boost in a way.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. That's great. And that's why I couldn't get the phrase ready or not out of my head when I was looking at all of this. I think we're all going to be ready, but some people will get a little surprised at the shift
Yeah.
because if you haven't been paying attention, you'll be like, whoa, okay, so we're doing this, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. So anything else that you want to leave people with in summary or driving anything home for this particular full moon?
Um, I just want to pull back two points. One, um, the moon and Pluto are really close together. So that can be emotionally intense. And so you may have some strong emotions attached to this. If you are an external expressor, those could be externally intense. But if you're internal, it could be the tendency to smolder or pout. And so just awareness, right? Awareness that whether you're getting super intense or pouty, either way, it's an indicator. Oh yeah, shift. There's a pivot I need to see. There's something I need to be looking at that is going to don't get stuck in it, right? And then the other thing is that remember that this time Neptune is in a really positive relationship to the sun and the moon. So, lean into your spirituality, your imagination, your inspirations, your intuition, knowing that those are going to be supportive processes for you.
Awesome. Well, as always, thank you so much. I know there were so many nuggets of wisdom that people will be able to extract based on what resonates for them. And for all of our listeners, you can find Catherine's information in the show notes if you'd like to take a deeper dive with her. And we will look forward to chatting with Catherine again next month. Bye for now.